Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Sir Haram Bautista and I am here to discuss to you the topic about mark on, mark down, and markup of a given product. In this video tutorial, I'll be presenting to you some set of word problems. So, what are you waiting for? Let's get started. On the previous module, we have already defined and differentiated the mark on, the mark down, and also the markup. These three concepts are very essential in sustaining a business. How we set our prices or the prices of our products is very crucial since it will determine the profit of our business. In that, it is necessary to know these concepts to avoid losses and maintain our business running. So that is how important these three concepts, the markup, the markdown, and the mark on. And to begin, we have here a word problem. It states that an appliance center sells a smart TV at a markup of 14% of the selling price. The markup of the TV is 3,250 pesos. And then we have here, I also prepared some question for us. And then we have the first question, how much is the actual selling price? We all know that in the situation here above, the selling price is not given. The only given are the 14%, which is the markup rate based on the selling price, and the value of the markup, which is 3,250. Based on the problem, let's translate the problem into mathematical expression. And there we go. That is 3,250 pesos equals 14% times SP. Capital SP stands for the selling price. Instead of using percentage or rate, we will be converting 14% to decimal, and that is equal to 0.14. And then instead of using this a small letter x for multiplication, we will be putting SP inside a parenthesis, which will denote multiplication. And then here it goes. 3,250 equals 0.14 times the selling price. And our task here is to solve for the value of the selling price. And to do that, we are going to divide the whole equation by 0.14. Okay, on the right side, 0.14 on the numerator will be cancelled out since 0.14 divided by 0.14 is equal to 1. So, capital SP will be the one to be remain. And then on the left side, 3,250, we are going to divide that by 0.14. After dividing, we will get the result, which is equal to 23,214 pesos and 29 centavos. This is now the actual selling price. We already solved the first question. We already answered, rather, the first question we have here. Next, what is the rate of markup based on the cost? That's the second question. On the given problem, on the given scenario, there is a markup rate here, which is 14%. This 14% refers to markup rate based on the selling price. So now we have here the question number 2. It talks about the cost. So for us to know the markup based on the cost, we first solve for the value of the cost. And for us to solve for the value of cost, we will be using the formula which I already discussed on the previous video. So that is SP, selling price, equals cost plus markup. And then by doing additive property of equality, in order for us to solve for the value of the cost, we're going to transfer markup on the other side of the equation and vice versa. So our formula, our working formula would be cost is equal to selling price minus markup. Capital letter M for markup. And then we substitute the given values. For the selling price, we have 23,214 pesos and 29 cents minus the markup, which is 3,250 pesos. By doing some subtraction, the value of the cost is 19,964 pesos and 29 centavos. Now that we already find the value of the cost, we can now solve, or we can now answer the question here on number 2. Okay, what formula are we going to use? That is markup rate based on the cost. So this will be the symbol. Markup rate based on the cost, or rate of markup based on the cost, is equal to capital letter M, the markup, divided by the cost. And then we substitute the given values. That is 3,250 pesos, the markup, all over or divided by 19,964 pesos and 29 cents, that is the cost. It will yield a result which is equal to 0.1628. I rounded off the answer to the nearest 10 thousandths, or up to 4 decimal places. And this decimal is equal to 16.28%. This is now the markup rate based on the cost. And with that, we already answer question number 2. Okay, kindly study the following solution that we did. Kindly study for a while. I'll be giving you some few seconds. Okay. All right. So I think you're good. So let's move on. There are several concepts that we must know to be able to solve these problems. And to officially present to you, here are the essential formulas to be used. So we have here the selling price. It is already presented to you in my first video. And the selling price is the sum of the cost, which is denoted by capital letter C, and the markup, which is also denoted by capital letter, which is letter M. In symbols, that is SP, selling price, equals C plus M. Next, we have here the markup. Markup is defined as the sum of the expenses, capital letter E, and the profits, denoted by capital letter P. In symbols, that is M is equal to E plus P. And then we also have here markup rate based on cost, that is equal to markup divided by the cost times 100 to get the percentage. Next, we have here markdown rate based on the selling price, and that is equal to markdown divided by the selling price times 100 to get the percentage. And then we also have another formula for the selling price. This is denoted by capital letter SP, that is equal to P sub O. P sub O is the original price multiplied to quantity 1 minus markdown rate based on the selling price. Out from this formula, we can also derive another formula solving for the original price. And this is the formula. Original price is equal to selling price divided by 1 minus markdown rate based on the selling price. Okay. Then out from this formula, again, we can also solve for the value of the markdown rate based on the selling price, and that the formula is equal to 1 minus selling price divided by original price times 100 to get the percentage. Okay, so we have all in all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 formulas which are essential in this topic. Okay, kindly familiarize the formulas. Okay, study the following for a while. Okay, I think you're good. So now let's proceed to another. We have here a sample problem. It says that the cost of a calculator is 850 pesos. The selling price is 1,150 pesos. How much is the markup? What is the rate of the markup based on cost? So we are going to solve first, or to answer the first question. The first question is all about how much is the markup. So we will be using the formula markup is equal to selling price minus the cost. Okay, and then we substitute the values. The selling price is 1,150 pesos minus the cost of the product, which is 850 pesos. When we subtract the two, we will come up to 300 pesos. This is now the value of the markup. And then we already answered the question above. Next, let's proceed to the next question. What is the rate of the markup based on cost? So in that case, we will be using this formula. Markup rate based on cost is equal to markup all over cost times 100 to get the percentage. Then we substitute the values to the givens. Here, markup. So the markup, that is equal to 300 divided by the cost, which is equal to 850. Then times 100. And then by solving, we will get 35.29%. This is now the markup rate based on cost. So this is now the answer to the problem above. Now let's proceed. Here we have a pair of shoes costs 4,700 pesos. The markup rate based on the selling price is 15%. What is the selling price? And what is the markup? So let's proceed with answering the first question. What is the selling price? So we have to use the formula selling price is equal to cost plus markup. In this scenario, in the problem, the markup is not given. The only given is 15%. That is the markup rate based on selling price. So we will be using this rate in solving for the value of the markup. So the markup will be equal to 0.15 times the selling price. Now, selling price is equal to the cost. The cost is 4,700 plus the markup. This one, we will be using this one minus 0.15 times the selling price. And then, by addition property of equality, we will be transferring this one to the other side of the equation. So we will be having selling price minus 0.15 times the selling price is equal to 4,700 pesos. Then subtract the 2. You will have 0.85 times the selling price is equal to 4,700. Now, our task here is to solve for the value of the selling price. So therefore, we'll have to divide the whole equation by the number beside the selling price, and that is 0.85. By division, the 0.85 beside the selling price will be cancelled out since 0.85 divided by 0.85 is equal to 1. Then when we divide 4,700 pesos by 0.85, it will become 5,529 pesos and 41 cents. This is now the value of the selling price, and it answers the question above. Next, let's proceed to the second question. What is the markup? Okay, here's the formula. We can use this. M markup is equal to 0.15 of the selling price. Then we substitute the value of the selling price. That is 0.15 times 5,529 pesos and 41 cents. When we multiply the two, the answer is 829 pesos and 41 centavos. Aside from this, we can also use another formula. And that is markup is equal to selling price minus the cost. Then substitute the given values. So for the selling price, we have 5,529 pesos and 41 cents minus 4,700 pesos. That is the value of the cost. Okay, by doing subtraction, we'll get the result which is equal to 829 pesos and 41 centavos. As you can see, they are just the same. Okay, so now let's proceed. So the original price of a motorcycle is 55,800 and was sold at 55,000 pesos. How much is the markdown? What is the markdown rate and of the motorcycle? So we'll be answering first the first question. How much is the markdown? So we will be using this formula. Markdown is equal to original price minus the selling price. Then substitute the given values. That is 55,800 minus 55,000. Then the markdown is equal to 800. This is not the question. This is not the answer for the question number 1 above. Now let's proceed to the markdown rate of the motorcycle. So we'll be using this formula. Markdown rate based on the selling price, that is equal to markdown divided by the selling price times 100 to get the percentage. So let's substitute the values. For markdown, we have 800. For selling price, we have 55,000 pesos times 100. Okay, by dividing 800 divided by 55,000 times 100, we'll get the rate which is equal to 1.45%. This is now the markdown rate based on the selling price. And with that, we already answered the questions on the problem above. Next. Here we have another problem. So after Valentine's Day, Riza decided to reduce the price of roses. Her original price is 50 pesos per flower. If she wants to reduce the price to 35 pesos, what is the markdown rate? Suppose Riza wants to calculate the price of the roses based on the markdown rate of just 25%. How much would the roses cost? In this scenario, we will be answering first the first question. What is the markdown rate? With that, we'll be using this formula. Markdown rate based on the selling price is equal to 1 minus the selling price divided by the original price times 100. Then let's substitute. That is 1 minus the selling price 35 pesos, the original price 50 times 100. In this case, we'll first divide the 2, 35 divided by 50, that is 0.7. And with that, we will first subtract 1 minus 0.7, that is 0.3, and then multiply to 100, that is 30%. And this is now the markdown rate. Next, let's proceed to how much will be the rows after putting a markdown. Okay, so we'll be using this formula. Selling price is equal to the original price times the quantity of 1 minus the markdown rate based on the selling price. And then we substitute the value in the given. Okay, so we have here the original price, we have 50 pesos. Multiply to quantity 1 minus the markdown rate, we have 25%. So I already converted it to decimal form, that is 0.25. And then 50, then 1 minus 0.25, that is 0.75. Then we multiply the 2, 50 pesos times 0.75. This is equal to 37 pesos and 50 centavos. Okay, so that's how we solve problems. So we are just following the formulas I have presented to you a while ago. So I hope you learned a lot in my discussion. I hope you get something, you learn something in my discussion. So thank you for watching and listening.